Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Guyanese are likely to see the all-important free tertiary education promise come to fruition. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 14th August 2023. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Guyana's President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali has confirmed the commitment to providing all Guyanese with free access to education at the University of Guyana. Highlighting his government's swift action on delivering its manifesto promises, the head of state emphasized that this educational guarantee is inevitable. HGP's Tiana Cole offers an in-depth look in her latest report.
Free education is universal education. Bet your last dollar it is going to happen.
That's President Irfan Ali speaking to reporters on the sidelines of an event at the office of the President on Thursday morning. The promise of free university-level education was a front burner for the PPP while on the election campaign trail, and President Ali boasted his government has done well in keeping its manifesto promises. The president added that in less than 3 years, the Guyana Online Academy of Learning Gold program surpassed its 20,000 scholarship.
And that was our commitment, 20,000 scholarship.
In 5 years.
So in 5 years. So Minister Manichan, kudos to you and the team. Please let them know that we are very pleased.
The Gold Scholarship, which was launched in April 2021, is offered to Guyanese from all walks of life. Gold offers in excess of 187 programs that can be accessed from 15 reputable academic institutions across the world, including India, Africa, the United Kingdom, and Germany. The program, which is being financed by the government of Guyana, range from certificate level all the way to PhDs. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
In the meantime, the president dismissed assertions regarding a rise in crime, highlighting that data indicates a decline in criminal activity. However, he acknowledged an uptick in murder rates, primarily influenced by the unfortunate Mahdia incident. Shamra Alin of HGP Nightly News provides a deeper insight into his report.
Various sections of society have lamented the sharp increase in crime throughout Guyana, but President Irfan Ali rubbished this claim. Speaking on the sidelines of an interview on Thursday, the head of state stated that the statistic shows that crime is decreasing.
We can't work on perception too. The statistics, based on all the reports, shows that crime is on the decline in Guyana. And there has been a tremendous decline in crime. The problem with the figures is that we had this issue at Mahdia that pushed up the murder rate.
In a recent travel advisory, the U.S. Department of State placed Guyana, the fastest growing economy in the world, in a level 3 category, which is one step away from a do not travel warning. The advisory noted that violent crimes, including murder and armed robbery, are common, especially at night, and the Guyana Police Force lacks the resources to respond effectively to serious criminal incidents. But the Guyanese leader told reporters that since ascending to office, his administration has worked aggressively to provide the Guyana Police Force with tools to fight crimes.
That is not to say even the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crime that exists is significantly important for us. So, we are working in a very holistic way. One, we are building out the infrastructure for the police force. We're giving them more tools and equipment.
Only 2 weeks ago, opposition parliamentarian Gita Chandan Edmond called on the Ali-led administration to arrest the crime situation in the country and restore calm and peace. Her call came after retired Assistant Police Commissioner Clinton Conway, who not only noted that crime is under increase, but accused the police force of docking the numbers. Reporter for HGP Nightly News, Shamor Allen.
Small hospitality businesses have been affected by ongoing regional flight disruptions in the region. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
Travelers all over the Caribbean, including St. Lucia, have been expressing frustration and outrage over the delays and cancellations of inter-Caribbean Airways flights to and from the destinations. The disruptions, which have left many stranded on airports, have been blamed on unforeseen temporary staffing issues. French carrier Air Antilles too had operations disrupted in the past days due to ongoing strike action in Guadeloupe and Martinique. The delays and cancellations have affected local properties whose niche market is from within the region, says CEO of the SLHTA, Nourani Aziz. He noted that the recent issues further compound the already existing issues in regional travel.
It is encouraging, though, to hear that the commitment at the highest levels from some of these carriers is towards improving their service to commuters regionally. Our regional tourism arrivals is something that we have been keeping our eyes on. There is significant room for improvement. That particular block of visitors do impact significantly our smaller and mid-sized properties, and those delays do nothing good for our industry, not only for those leisure travelers but also for business travelers whose movement throughout the island has been significantly stymied after COVID.
Aziz pointed out that flight disruptions affect not only travelers but also airlines. Punctuality is crucial in air travel, and delays and cancellations can damage an airline's reputation.
Service has become a huge competitive point in this day and age, and businesses would do well to pay very close attention to the needs and demands of their consumers and to be able to adjust accordingly to make sure that they offer those service standards at the very highest levels and with enhanced efficiencies. At the end of the day, the consumer is very careful about who they spend their money on and which services they avail themselves to. Sadly, the offerings are not very competitive regionally right now. There's not sufficient competition among these carriers, and so for far too long, regional commuters have just been sadly disposed or at the mercy of inefficiencies of aircraft carriers.
The SLHTA head expressed hope for more action from regional heads of government to address regional travel issues. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Rom.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Bahamian Prime Minister meets Afrexim Bank executives and secures some funds for important projects. Carla Palmer of ZNS News reports.
The deal all but sealed as the promise of a financial transaction takes root, and Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis anticipates taking hold of millions of dollars in loan from the African Export-Import Bank.
They made a commitment to lend our Bahamas Development Bank for onward lending $30 million, and I was pleased to hear this morning that is being advanced, and hopefully that we'll see the reality of that within the next few weeks.
During the meeting with stakeholders over the weekend at the office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Davis explained that the funds have been earmarked to advance small and medium enterprises throughout the country.
It is important that we recognize that we need to have various sources of funding. African Export Bank becoming a new source lends to our varied options in which we can go to seek grant funding as well as infrastructural and other development funding. And so we're developing this relationship.
President and the chairman of the board of directors of the African Export-Import Bank, Dr. Benedict Oromar, admits that the bank has a targeted audience when it comes to lending funds.
We trust our people more. We are not going to say that our people are all too risky, as the traditional banks do. Because our people cannot be risky to us. So we will go to any transaction with an open mind. That is the big difference we made in the continent of Africa. That's the big difference we will make here.
Chairman of the Bahamas Development Bank, Senator the Honorable Quinton Lightburn, anticipates the funds helping to boost the economy.
The negotiations and discussions have been had with the Afro-Maxim Bank and the Bahamas Development Bank for quite some time. And so it's a very favorable perspective in terms of being able to secure funding for the Bahamas Development Bank to provide lending for businesses throughout the country in terms of trade, manufacturing development, import, export, and everything that falls underneath the Bahamas Development Act of 1974. So these things are going very well. It's going very promising, and we're hopeful that definitely that things can be finalized very shortly to proceed and help the economy of the Bahamas.
The African delegation has since left the country, but not before Prime Minister Davis expressed his thanks for their assistance in the country's developmental goals. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Carla Palmer.
The energy sector in Trinidad and Tobago given a dose of good news as more oil has been discovered.
And the energy sector was given a dose of good news over the weekend after the discovery of virgin oil in the Jacobin 1 well Trinity Exploration announced the discovery in a statement. On Monday, the company stated the Jacobin 1 had been successfully drilled to a total depth of 10,021 feet and is one of the deepest wells drilled in recent times within the prolific Palo Seco area offshore Trinidad. According to the company's news release, over 290 feet of net oil pay encountered in the Jacobin well, including 63 feet of net oil pay in the deeper exploration targets.
In the meantime, crime is a serious problem plaguing the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and it has taken center stage in the run-up to the local government elections. Former head of the Police Service Commission, Professor Emeritus Ramesh Diosaran, says the proposed Stand Your Ground legislation should be put before the Parliament. TV6's Nicole M. Romney has more.
Professor Diosaran says the criminals have no mercy and no boundaries, and the situation is only worsening. As he weighed in on the call from the opposition leader for the introduction of Stand Your Ground legislation enacted in some U.S. states.
It's not only home invasions, it's invading business places. I have seen on the television how these bandits hold down the business people at the cashier, beating them, and the people lying down so screaming for help. When you see these things, the public must get agitated.
He said Mrs. Bassan Bissessa had the right idea.
When Ms. Bassan Bissessa said about a month ago that she's going to move a motion in Parliament proposing Stand Your Ground laws, I think that was the correct way to do.
Professor Diosaran tells us those four aspects include what level of threat, what level of force should be used, and what is reasonable. He says he hopes to see a debate take place in the House.
I'm pleased to see the Prime Minister understand the public mood, apart from the politics. And he has said, well, maybe we should do some revision. And I think he will do the revision not from the political platform, but the revision should be done in Parliament.
Nicole M. Romney, TV6 News.
A mother-daughter duo became the first Caribbean nationals from Antigua to head into outer space. Paul Moore of HGP Nightly News reports.
History was created on Thursday as two Antiguans became the first mother-daughter duo from the Caribbean to head into outer space. Keisha Skahaf, 46, a health coach, and her daughter Anastasia Myers, 18, a student at Scotland's University of Aberdeen, took off from the spaceport America in the New Mexico desert earlier today on Virgin Galactic's VSS Unity. They experienced weightlessness for a few minutes as they flew about 55 miles, 88 kilometers high above their Earth's surface. Skanhaf and Myers were able to make their historic journey after winning a competition in November 2021. They're joined on the journey by British Olympian John Godwin, who was among the first to buy a ticket in 2005. Two pilots and the Virgin Galactic's astronaut trainer. This is Virgin Galactic's second commercial flight into space.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.